Hello all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, good evening all. My name is Abhishek, and I am here from the KAPLAN's team. My name is Abhishek, and I'm like the national head of KAPLAN India. And for the last 15 years, I've been helping students to achieve their dreams and goals in the US as far as the residency is concerned. I'm happy to be here as a part of this session. And first of all, thank you all for taking out time on a Sunday evening. I hope all of you are healthy. You've taken your second dose of jab and all of it and fine. So without wasting much of time, we'll just quickly go ahead and start for the session for the evening. So today we are just going to talk about the USMLEs, the paper pattern, the process, how to get into residency, where is the right time, what are the studies, strategies, approach, etc. Everything in a nutshell that we're going to discuss about the USMLEs today. Right. There is a possibility many a times it happens since we attend online. At times there's some network issues, and if you find this interesting at a later stage, if you want to get in touch with us and you want to just contact us for any questions, queries, I would recommend everyone to please take a screenshot of this particular slide and keep our contact details handy at any given point in time you feel you need to just get in touch with us. Here are the contact details on the screen. Right. Before we begin again, Kaplan is happy to offer all the attendees a free book or an ebook, I would say, which is called as the Med Essentials ebook. I'm sure you've heard of something called as the first aid book. So Med Essentials is the Kaplan's version of the ebook. Don't waste your time now, but just take a screenshot or just make a note of this link somewhere. After the end of this session, you can just in your Google Chrome browser, just type this link, which is bit.ly/Logiquest ME. ME stands for the Med Essentials, and just sign up for this within 24 to 48 hours. Every single attendee who's listening to me right now will have an ebook of Med Essentials in their Kaplan accounts, and the login details will be emailed to you automatically within the next 24 to 48 hours. Right. Now, I would like to begin with trying to show the demand only then that there is it's enough supply, or there should be supply. But before this, I would really be keen to know which audience am I speaking with. Most of you are first years or second years, third year, final, or interns. If one of you can, on behalf of the group, maybe Siddharth can just introduce me to the group size. At least I know whom I'm speaking with.
Yes, so the majority are from the first and second professional years, and then we have a minor population of the final years, sir.
I'm sorry?
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
The majority are from the first and second professional years, sir. The first year MBBS and second year MBBS.
So majority of you are like first years and second years, right?
Yes, sir. And there are a few from the third and the fourth years, sir.
Okay, I get that. Right. So you being into the first years and second years, most of you, I'm sure you must have heard of USMLEs, and you would want to get into the US. Let's try and understand why should even first any student would want to think about US as an option. What is so great about US we need to understand. So I would like to take you through the official statistics of the US news. The official website is the AAMC, stands for the Association of American Medical Colleges. On their official website, they've clearly mentioned that research shows a shortage of more than 1 lakh doctors by 2030, which means in the next 9 years, these guys were expecting a shortage of about, over 1 lakh, which is a huge number is what I would say. But again, you might also say, so this was again predicted about almost 3 to 4 years ago. And what is the news now? What is the update now? Has there been any change? And that is what you would be interested to know. And as a result of which, if I have to show you the updated stats on their own website, again, they have updated saying that new findings confirm prediction of physician shortage of 122,000 physicians by 2032, which means just in the next 2 years, they've anticipated another 22,000 physicians, doctors, surgeons, healthcare workers are required in the US, which means, see, very interesting and important to know that the place that you are applying, is that the right place, or you're just going because maybe your seniors, your juniors, your neighbors, your cousins are going, so you want to go? You need to make a very confirmed decision. You just cannot go because you get carried away. That is not the approach, especially when the US residency is concerned, right? And also I would want you to compare that with the Indian statistics. I'm sure you can always get back to your seniors, or maybe you can get back to your dean or HODs and just ask them. I would like to draw your attention to the last year's statistics. When students in India, they tried to apply for the Indian PG, the stats were really scary. I'll tell you, somewhere around 182,000 and some change students had actually applied for the Indian PG, and all of these students contested for about 25,000 and some change seats. Now let's assume all 25,000 students got absorbed. What about the balance 1.5 lakh students? What should they do, and where should they go? That is the question. And which is why, again, they have to again redo the entire prep for the entire year, again give that exam, which unfortunately happens only once in a year, and then they try their luck again. There are going to be 1.5 lakh students from the last year plus fresh students who've passed out this year. This is how it keeps on bloating, and what are your chances? You've got very skim chances. See, again, I'm not here to talk about anti-India or pro-US, but I'm just talking purely based on the available statistics, and not just 1 or 2 year statistics. I can present you last 10 year statistics also. So that graph itself will tell you that how is the position and where do you think you can comfortably get in, right? Now, again, this website was also updated on the 23rd of April 2019. What happened thereafter, right? Now, if you see last year, 26th of June 2020, okay, this particular website, when they updated, they further anticipated the shortage of about 139,000 physicians and doctors by 2033. So the point I'm trying to make is the year on year, the predictions that they are making is really huge, and that is where I feel that you have great chances of fitting into the requirements of US, where you know that, hey, you are ready to apply. You also know that US is one destination who needs you. So what are we waiting for? Let's go ahead and dive in. Now, if you want to know further the bifurcation of 133,000 seats or vacancies that they are anticipating, which all categories are they anticipating? So primary care, non-primary care, surgical specialties, medical specialties, other specialties which are like a non-clinical, which is patho, radio, psyche. So what is the approximate shortage range that they're expecting? Everything is put in front of you on your screen, right? Now, in a nutshell, in today's session, what we are going to cover is why obtain medical licensure in the US. Partially, I've already given you some insights, but this is not the end of it. There's a lot that I'm going to talk about and give you information about the entire process. It's like a virtual tour of US. You can just consider that. We are also going to talk about the application process, the timelines. We're going to talk about CV building, how to build your CV, what all are the components that you need to have in your CV, clinical rotations, when to do, how much to do, why to do, all of that, letters of recommendation. That is what we're going to talk about in today's session. We're also going to try and understand this monster exam called as the USMLE. How different is it from your MBBS exam? We're also going to talk about the study plan strategies. How should you be planning further about the study plan? And I'll also be giving you certain tips to increase your odds and finally how Kaplan can help you in your entire journey of USMLE, right from your first years till the last day in the US when you actually begin your residency in the US. We're going to talk about everything in detail today, right? Just have some patience, listen to me carefully. One piece of advice to all of you, rather a request I would say, if you have any questions, please make a note of it. Don't pop in your questions now because I won't be going through the questions now. Towards the end of the session, I'm certainly going to go through the Q&A. If you have any questions, park those, ask me towards the end, and over the voice, we'll have an interactive Q&A towards the end, right? Having said that, let's try and understand. Now, if you're looking forward for US as a destination, is US really an option in terms of the monetary gains? Is it good enough? And from the the bar graph here mentioned herein, that itself talks about what is the earning potential that every doctor has. And I'll give you a very small example. I would want you to compare yourself with any doctor in India who's going to do the same duration of post graduation in India. No matter it's internal medicine, it's pediatrics, it's psychiatry, it's neurology, no matter what specialty it is, just compare yourself with that doctor. And once you've completed the same tenure of post-graduation in the US, come back and then compare the statistics or the monetary gains. You will find there's huge difference. There's absolutely huge difference, because a person here in India who's looking forward for, let's say, I would say like an OBGYN is going to earn at least about 300,000 US dollars if he's going to complete his post graduation from the US. Now, I don't have to quantify how much a OBGYN resident or maybe a doctor in India earns. I don't want to get into it, but it's only for you to know and understand what is the kind of difference that it is going to make to your personality, to your financials, to your knowledge base, to everything, right? And the reason why I'm showing this to you is not to show you the greed of money, but for you to know and understand how smartly and wisely that you should be investing your time, efforts, and money. Because if you be here in India and do a 3 years of medicine, where do you stand some 3 years down the line after your graduation? And the same 3 years, if you were to invest in the US, look at the bar, and then maybe you can make a decision for yourself, right? Now, if you were to begin with, if you think that, that monetary bar has really pumped your, hopes and expectations, and you feel that US is a destination that you got to be, then I would suggest start now. But where do you start with? These are the 4 important factors that every student attending this should know, because these 4 factors are going to be some milestones at some point in time of your MBBS career that you will have to overcome. And that's how you will have to, increase, and you will need to understand. Now, first we'll try and understand the USMLE exam. Then we'll understand what is the ECFMG. We'll also understand what is the ERAS process. And finally, we will also try and understand the NRMP, or the National Residency Matching Program. Don't get afraid of looking at these jargons. They might sound jargons to you right now, but I'm going to clarify each and everything right in this session. First, let's begin with understanding the USMLE exams. All right. Now, USMLE exam is divided into parts. Now, if you were to give your NEET PG exam or maybe your next exam, you have to study for all 19 subjects at one stroke, and it is going to be super tedious for you. But the USMLEs, for the sake of convenience, it is going to be divided into steps or parts. So the first part deals with your basic sciences, which is your first year and second year of MBBS. Okay. Now, step 1 exam, it is all about understanding the underlying mechanism of the disease and the initial diagnosis. It deals with the basic sciences of your first year and second year subjects, which is especially anat, physio, biochem, patho, micro, pharmac, and of course micro will be clubbed with the immuno as well, and the behavioral science. So you will have 7 subjects in all. It will be a 8-hour long exam including the break time. You will have 7 blocks, and a total of 280 questions is what you will have to cater during your 7 hours of exam. So it's a 7-hour exam plus 1 hour break. That's how it's an 8-hour long exam. Now, so far, all of you are used to a 3-hour pattern, right? And during this 3-hour pattern, when all of a sudden you've been asked to give an exam of about a 5 or a 6 hour or 7 hour, that's when the challenge begins, that how do you perform in the 5th hour, 6th hour and the 7th hour, because somehow you'll push yourself till the 5th hour, but not beyond that. So it's a lot of exertion, mental exercise, physical endurance is what you will need, and which is why step 1 preparation takes a little longer, because you're completely new to this pattern or style of exam. So that's the step 1 exam. It is conducted 365 days a year, not like a next or a NEET exam, which happens once in a year, but it happens every single day minus the Sundays, right? So that's how the frequency of step 1 exam is. So the beauty is, today you feel confident, immediately within a 15 or 1 month's time, you can go and give the exam, book an exam day, go and give the exam. That's how simple the process of giving the USMLE exam is. As of today, the USMLE exam, all right, is weighted at the passing score of 194, which means any person who has a 194 has just passed on the borderline score. Anyone who's a 193 is failed. But you know, having a score like a 194 or a 195 or a 200 is really not going to take you anywhere. Now, since most of you are first years and second years, it is not going to affect you to a larger extent, because I'm sure you must have heard by now that with effect from 26th of Jan 2022, the USMLE exam is going to change to a pass or fail pattern, right? So you either pass the exam or you fail the exam. There is nothing more than that. And which is why, you know, first years and second years, it's not going to be much of a harm to you. But especially if you are an intern who's listening to me right now, or a final year student, you still have a chance to go and give the exam. Even third years for that matter. If you think you've prepped enough and you want to just, you know, brush up and give your exam, you still have a final chance, right? So the minimum passing here is 194, but after 22, it's going to be either pass or a fail. Then the next exam, which is going to be there for you, is the step 2 CK, which deals with the clinical knowledge. And it's all about the assessment and application of the patient's initial diagnosis and the treatment. The 5 subjects that you are going to tackle in your step 2 CK is going to be your internal medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, OBGYN, and surgery, right? Interestingly, I call that like internal medicine, baby medicine, crazy medicine, woman medicine, and butcher medicine. So these are the 5 medicines that you will have to learn and write in your USMLE step 2 CK exam. Now this time it's a 9-hour long exam, which means it's an 8-hour long exam plus 1 hour of break, which is like a total of 9 hours is what you will have to sit at one place, focus, and give or solve every question with the same capacity, with the same mileage till the last minute. So which means, again, you got to sit for long hours, and that's what you'll have to train yourself while you're studying for your step 2 CK. Otherwise, I'm sure you know what is pediatrics, and I'm sure you know what is a surgery, and I'm sure you know what is an OBGYN. But do you know the same subjects in the USMLE pattern? That's a $1 million question, and that's where most of the students end up making mistakes. Now, similarly, if you've seen, against a 280 question in step 1, step 2 CK will deal with 318 questions, and against $1155 towards your exam fee for step 1, step 2 CK will have $1175, just about $20 more is what it would ask you for. So roughly around 85,000 rupees is what it would need for you to appear for the exam. So since the exam is equally expensive, we don't want to take multiple chances. Okay, fine, I failed this time, I'll take another one. I failed this time, I'll take another one. We cannot have that kind of approach, right? It will again have 8 blocks, and the minimum passing here is going to be 209. Now, although the step 1 is changing, Step 2 CK is not changing. So step 2 CK will still ask you for a 3-digit score. And out of a 318, although 209 is the bare minimum borderline passing score, that's certainly not what we're targeting for. We should be targeting for somewhere around a 240 or a 250 plus. That's when you should find yourself into a comfortable position, right? Don't worry about how to study. What is it? Is it doable? Can I do it? There's nothing to worry. We're always here to help you and support you and guide you, right? Now, until last year, we had a practical exam, which was a step 2 CS, which is completely scrapped forever. But in lieu of that, now we have a new exam, which is the OETs. And this is the simplest of the lot. Even a 10th or 12th standard kid will be easily able to crack this exam because it's all about occupational English test, which deals with your English proficiency test, mainly dealing with your reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And what is that? It's nothing but communication and spoken English proficiency. All our education, especially before your MBBS and even during your MBBS, happens in English. So this is not really that tough because they're not going to ask you medicine. They're simply going to test you on your communication skills, right? Again, this exam happens twice a month on alternate Saturdays. So again, you just go to your closest center. Most of the cities will have a OET center. Even for your step 1 and step 2 CK, go to any metro cities, you will have your centers out there. So we have a center there in Chennai. We have one center in Hyderabad. We have a center there in Trivandrum. We have a center there in Bangalore. We have a center in Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, different parts of the country. So that should equally not be a problem. There's going to be one last exam, friends, and that exam is called as the step 3 exam. Now, step 3 exam is all about understanding of the clinical science, which is considered essential for the unsupervised practice of medicine. Because in the step 2 CK, if you observe, the subjects of step 2 CK and step 3 are exactly identical. Now, there would be a question in your mind that if the subjects are same, then why is this test conducted twice? Can't they know how much medicine I know? Yes, definitely they know how much you know. But the difference is in approach. Your approach in step 2 CK is just to diagnose the patient and understand what is going to be the line of action or the line of treatment. But again, in the step 3, it is all about the unsupervised practice of medicine. So you are all by yourself as an individual doctor. And if there's some kind of crisis, some kind of emergency which comes, what would you do in that kind of scenario? So the same subjects, they're going to take a step deeper and ask you more complex questions, but of the same subjects, which is the difference. And step 3 is all about a licensing exam. Let me give you a tip here. Step 1 is all about pass or fail. Step 2 CK, yes, you got to have the highest possible score. But on the contrary, the step 3 exam being the licensing exam, it's not a competitive exam. So even if you have a borderline score for 196, trust me, nothing happens. You're absolutely safe and sound. Because the reason why you take this exam is just to obtain the license to practice medicine in the US. You're not going to compete with anyone. So you have a 200, no problem. You have a 196, no problem. But you have a 209 in step 1, your step 2 CK. Yes, there's certainly a problem because that's a competitive score and you are left miles behind in comparison with your other competitors, which is why step 1, step 2 CK, give your best. Step 3, even if you pass at a borderline score, that's fine. Step 3 also happens 365 days a year, but it happens only in the US. There's no step 3 center in India. As I told you, subjects are the same: medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, OBGYN, and surgery. This time it's going to be a 2-day exam with 8 blocks comprising of MCQs and clinical case simulations. So there are simulators which are given to you, and on the simulators you will be assigned 13 patients or 13 patient scenarios, and then you're supposed to treat the machine, which are called as the simulators, and depending on how many you kill or how many you save, you actually get the outcome of your exam. right? $830 is your exam fee and $196 is the minimum passing, right? Now, after you've taken these exams, now it's time that, you slowly start getting into the procedural aspect of getting into the US. How do I get into residency? What are the various milestones that you got to cover? So the first thing is the ECFMG. ECFMG is a mediator between an international medical graduate and the USMLE body of the US. It basically deals with one second. I believe there's some questions coming in. I request all of you, please hold your questions. We'll have a Q&A towards the end. It's just popping in between and it's like, disturbing the rhythm. Please, I request. Thank you. So the ECFMG, as I said, is a mediator between the international medical graduate and the USMLE body. So any student who wants to appear for the USMLE Step 1 or the Step 2 CK exam, right, they have to approach this third-party body, which acts as a gate pass that, hey, I'm coming from India, I'm coming from China, I'm coming from Australia, I'm coming from Africa, or any part of the world which is outside of the US. ECFMG is that body which will verify that you claim yourself to be a doctor or a medical student. Okay, fine. Let me verify. Let me see. Have you completed your basic sciences? Yes or no? The medical school that you're coming from, is that registered in the World Directory of Medical Schools? Yes or no? Do you have any, maybe a subject down, like, ATKT kind of a thing that you speak, that you normally talk about, right? So these kind of things, they will verify with your college. So when you submit an application to ECFMG will forward that to the to your college authorities, and then the college authorities will verify everything, say, hey, he is perfectly fitting into all the norms as per your expectations. Please go ahead and just do the needful. That's when they will give you the permission to appear for the USMLE Step 1 and the Step 2 CK exam. So that is the role of ECFMG. I don't want to get into the depth of it, because if I get into it, it will take almost about 2.5 hours. But because it's all about the admin process as to how do you register, what is the process, and that is not the agenda today. If you want, we can have a separate session on the ECFMG, how to register. But right now, just for your understanding, ECFMG is all about how to register for the exam. So in the yellow box, if you can see, it all deals with register through the ECFMG. It will verify your medical degree with your college. Then you pass your USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 CK. And after you've passed both the exams, but for one last time, ECFMG will give you the ECFMG certification, which means that, hey, Mr. X or Dr. X has completed his Step 1 and Step 2 CK successfully. That is all about, that is what this certification means, right? So that's about the ECFMG. Now, assuming fast forward, you've completed both your exams, and you've got yourself ECFMG certified. The next step is you send across your applications to the US, right? To the universities of your choice. Now, in my experience, I have seen Indian students sending applications to anywhere between 100 to 250 maximum total number of hospitals, colleges, and universities. And after that, they can expect somewhere around, let's say, about 10 to 15 interviews from the respective universities, right? Now, what is ERAS? ERAS stands for Electronic Residency Application Service, which is nothing but an electronic postmaster, which acts as transporting your applications from your end to the respective university terminal's end. So how do you do that? You cannot, let's say, for example, hypothetically, you want to send application to 200 places. You cannot send application one by one to 200 different hospitals or universities. So what you do is, which is why this is the world of digitalization, right? So you upload all the necessary relevant documents which are required for the application. Very few of them are listed on your screen, right? Along with the list of universities and hospitals that you want to send your application to, right? University A, into internal medicine, University B into internal medicine, University C into surgery, University D into pediatrics, or whatever it is. Either one specialty or multiple specialties of your choice. You can upload all the list. And at one click, my friends, one click, when you say send or submit, all your applications, all the soft copies are sent across to the different university terminals. So if it is 200, at one click, it will go to 200 places. If it is 150, it will go to 150 in one click. That is the role of IRAS. And you're supposed to take tokens. Now, what is token? Token meaning, for example, if this year I'm done with my step 1, step 2, I'm 𝐸CFMG certified. Today is what? 4th of July. I want to send across my applications. Now, one word of caution. IRAS will open up or accept applications only and only between the 1st of September to the 15th of September of every year. Nothing before that, nothing after that. Which means you have exactly 15 days of the year to send your applications. Which also means that you'll have to do a reverse calculation in terms of when should you be finishing your step 1, when should you be finishing your step 2 CK, when do you think you should be giving your step 3, the OETs, the clinical rotations, the applications, everything. And normally anywhere between after the 22nd of June of every year, IRAS will open up to distribute the tokens. So if I am supposed to send my application this year between the 1st September to the 15th September, I better go ahead and obtain a token from IRAS that, hey, Mr. IRAS, I want to submit my applications. Please give me a token. Only those people who have tokens can apply that year. If you don't have a token, you can't apply. Simple as that. And then between 1st and 15th of September, people with tokens will log into IRAS and shoot their applications to their respective universities. That's all the role of IRAS, nothing more than this at this point in time that you should know. And especially the timelines. Forget about IRAS, even if you don't know IRAS, that's fine. But timeline, very important. 1st September to 15th September of every year. That's very important, right? Now, what happens thereafter? You've sent across your applications and you want to now know what happens later. Now, these applications are processed at the back end. And what is the, do you know, surprisingly, what is the sequence in which your application is handled? I'm sure no one might know, but just for your information, I'll just take you through this. How do programs meaning hospitals or universities, how do programs choose their applicants and on what basis? First thing first, the first cut goes to the USMLE scores. Out of thousands of applications that these guys have received, trust me, they do not have time to go through every single application in depth. So they are going to simply use the digital method and apply electronic filters to IRAS and give a command that, all right, Mr. IRAS, show me students with, let's say 240 and above in step 1. 250 and above in step 2 CK for my pediatric program or internal medicine program or radiology program or whatever program for that matter. So automatically all those students who do not qualify the scores are flushed out in the very first round. The point I'm trying to make here, guys, is most of the students, they make a mistake. What they do is first they will try to glorify their CV and not give focus and attention to their USMLE scores or the approach, and that's where they end up, wasting time, the Easter years, the early years, the beautiful years, and that's where they screw up the entire approach. So let the glorifying or the beautification of your application be left towards the end. First thing first, Arey Baba, do you even qualify? How do you know? First take a USMLE exam, check your scores, and then you invest your time and money in glorification and beautification of your CV. Cosmetic changes will always happen towards the end, but first the base. Unless you have a strong pillar, don't even think of constructing a building. You're talking about, I want a paint of this shade into my bedroom. Arey Baba, first check whether you have a strong pillar, right? And the pillar here is USMLE scores. So that's the first cut that these guys would look at. Next cut goes to the application package. Now comes the other things. What all things do you have? US clinical experience, letters of recommendation, medical school grades, achievements, CV. Now is the time. So do you observe here? Beautification comes later. First, they will see whether do you even qualify, which is why again and again I'm stressing on one point, because I have seen failures of few of my students and I don't want you to be into the same shape again. I know that by avoiding certain things, success is going to come to you for sure. But if you make the same mistakes, then God bless you. Right? So after I've got the cream of cream students, as a program director, I will start looking into every single application in depth as to what has this person done, what all achievements, why do this person feel that he or she is eligible for even getting into this thing. So it has to be very convincing with conviction. That is all will come into the second cut. Then finally, in the third cut, they will shortlist the candidates based on the USMLEs as well as the overall application package. All right, fine. You know what? These set of students really seem to be fantastic. They've, stolen my, heart, or they've stolen my attention. They've grabbed my attention, and I'm just not able to take my eyes off their application. I feel these set of candidates really have that spark in them, and I got to go ahead and call them for an interview to meet them and understand them and know them better as compared to just checking online, because online maybe an expert like me could have helped you draft your application, but do you really have that spark in you is the question, and which is why they will call you down for a face-to-face interview. Okay. So you have no choice than to go to the US for a face-to-face interview and crack that interview. If you want to know what are the typical interview scenarios or what questions are asked and how do I answer, feel free to go to my YouTube channel. I've had a couple of sessions on, ECFMG. I've had one session on how to crack your interviews. Then there's one session on, CV building, etc. So there's a lot of informative videos out there on my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so far. But again, that's only for educational purpose, nothing more than that. And finally, the rankings decided. The last cut of your application process will go to the rankings decided. Now, rankings decided meaning that what ranks do you give? So for example, you have applied to 100 places. What is the choice of order that you opt for? So for example, you have mentioned university A, B, C, D are my top 4 choices. But when you've given the interview, have those 4 interviews also marked them in the top 4 in their priority list? So if you do not match each other's expectations, my friends, then there's going to be a tough time. But if you think that yes, they have liked you and you have also liked them and you are also trying to match each other's expectations, then yes, that is the place that you would get matched into that particular program or that particular scenario. Now I just tell you, this process is done by a third-party body which is called as the NRMP. NRMP stands for the National Residency Matching Program, and the NRMP is the one who is going to go ahead and do the matching process for you, and the place that you get matched is the place where you start your residency. The matching process, once it happens, now the results would be out by the 15th of March of every year. Understand that you have sent across your applications in the first half of your September, but by the time the results are out, it is going to be at least 15th of March, right? NRMP will declare its results on the 15th of March, and your residency typically in the US would start on the 1st of July of that particular year after the March results are out. And I'm sure most of you attending this session are also aware that there is no concept of tuition fees. Yes, you've heard me right. There's no concept of tuition fees in the US because the PG education, post-graduation education, or the residency in the US is 100% free, which is sponsored by the federal government of US. So you don't pay them anything, rather they pay you a hefty stipend of almost about $5,000 per month. So they are paying you, you're not paying them. So it is going to be certainly a big relief to your parents' pockets. You are not going to burden yourself, and it is certainly a doable task, because at the end of the day, you are supposed to study and crack some exam, either it's an Indian exam or any abroad exam. So if the abroad exam, especially the US exam, is going to come with a lot of benefits, then why not go for it? That is certainly a $1 million question. So I hope that you've understood the navigation process of how your application is actually dealt with, where it starts and where it ends. We've just discussed about the 4 cuts as to it, through what processes do they actually shortlist, and what are the major criteria that these guys look into as far as your application is concerned, right? Now, next thing is how to get residency interviews. That is what you should be aiming at or focusing, because this is important. Unless and until you've got an interview, obviously no interview equals no residency. Make this very clear in your mind. You have to get interviews. So if, for example, you've applied 200 places and you've got 10 interviews, so your luck is going to be hovering around those 10 interview places, not the balance 190. 190 is gone. So which is why you have to ensure that every single application, how do we maximize our opportunities? So how do I get residency interviews? This is very, very important. And a straightforward answer to this is the timelines, I would say. September is when you send across your applications. It is found that almost 18% of the students end up getting interview calls in September itself. Almost about 47% of the students end up getting interview calls latest by October. Then people who get interview calls by November is almost about 22%. Then December, it will fall down to further to 9%, and barely 4% or so % of students may expect interview calls latest by Jan or early Feb. Point that I'm trying to make here is sooner the better. And how will you ensure this? By ensuring that when you're sending across your applications in September itself, you are ready with everything. You're ready with your, obviously you're ready with your ECFMG certification. That's your step 1, step 2, which is why you're applying. But the other criteria like extracurricular rotations, if you want to do, or you want to take a step 3 exam, then at least you ensure that you're ready with those scores latest by August end or early September, so that you fall under the category of either 18% or 47%. So as to ensure that you have some positive, interview calls from these places. Otherwise, okay, fine. At least let me send my, applications parallelly. I'll do my step 3. I'll give it later on. And the more delay that you do, less are your chances. So sooner the better is certainly the, key factor is what I would certainly like to tell you over here, right? So October 47%, very high, very important. Now, here are certain CV building tips that I would like to share with you. One is what all things that you can add to your CV. Of course, the first thing is the highlight is do some electives or clerkship in the US. Go to the US, work for US hospitals, gain some experience, and get some letters of recommendation. So that is the elective program, which is normally called when you get hands-on experience in the US. Now, when I say go and take electives, most of the students, I don't know why, but they act and behave like headless chickens. I don't know why. Doing electives, you cannot do it anytime. There is a time period and it has to be into the prescribed form. Just imagine A student who is in the final year and maybe during his vacation time after his third year and early fourth year, he goes to the US for about a couple of months. He does his letter of recommendation. Let's say it is 2021 that he goes, and then he comes back. Now his letter of recommendation is going to be dated 2021 July. Now he's going to finish his entire final year, which is going to be until July of 2022, and his internship, it will start by, let's say, July of 22 to 1 year thereafter, which means he's going to apply either in 22 end or nothing before 23, and he's going to present the letter of recommendation which is dated 2021. Trust me, your letter of recommendation is, that stale letter of recommendation is going to soon get into a trash can, because they want something which is fresh. Number one. Number two, by then, if you've not tested yourself on the USMLEs, and after you've spent about 5, 6, 7 lakh rupees in your electives, and then you come back and then you realize, oh, my step 1 or step 2 CK score isn't great. I don't think US is my cup of tea, or I qualify for US. Then don't you think your efforts, money, time, everything is wasted? So don't do that. The best time for any student to do your electives is the last thing. First, always try and wrap up your step 1 as early as third year. Finish with your step 1 then. Step 2 CK, try and finish it in the first half of your internship, followed by the OET exam. And then you take a 2 to 3 months of break from your internship, go to the US, work for US hospitals, take letters of recommendation, come back, and then you shoot your applications for residency. You follow this, and I guarantee you that almost 70% of your battle, as far as your timelines are concerned, is won. It's in your favor. If you try and mend around my timeline that I gave you, I do not guarantee you anything, right? So keep this in mind. The secondary question in respect to electives and clerkship is, how do I get it? I don't know anyone in the US, which hospitals, which university, how do I apply? Forget it. Don't even bring this to your thought, because Logiquest is sitting here for the last several years. We will do all the application process for you. You just have to, contact us. If you're in one of our cities where we have our offices, walk in, have a discussion. We send your applications within maximum 1 to 2 weeks time. We get back with the offer letter. We'll give you a range of about 8 to 10, universities or hospitals. You choose. We do the application process. We give it to you. You should have a B1, B2, which is a visitor's visa, ready with you, and then you just a flight ticket, and then you're ready to fly. That's how the process works. But again, the guys, please keep this towards the end. This is the last thing that every student should aim for, not at the beginning. Just because I've mentioned this at point number 1 does not mean that you should start with this. I've mentioned that at point number 1 because this is the most important thing, but apparently it is supposed to be done towards the end. So, and when I'm saying most important, because it adds a lot of value, because then even the program director knows that this person, this doctor has worked in US. He knows how to talk or behave with the patient, how to maintain the electronic records, or history taking of the patient. He or she is exposed to the US healthcare system as compared to his country's healthcare system. So fine, the time and energy required to train this person is going to be less. So they also like it, they also appreciate it, and that's the turning factor of your CV, which is why it is the most important, which is why I've placed this point at number 1. Apart from this, if you want to get into any competitive fields like surgery, neurosurgery, or OBGYN or something of that sort, then yes, research would certainly be appreciated. I would not want to call it as compulsory or mandatory, but yes, without a research, if you're planning to get into a competitive field, then you would certainly make a fool out of yourself if you don't have these supporting important pieces of your CV. Then you know what to do. So the best time for you to start with a research or a project or any kind of publication is certainly either in the second half of third year or early final year. And which is why, as and when you start getting busy with these things, you will not find time for cracking USMLE, which is why get done with your USMLE. Start your USMLE prep as early as first year. Anat Physio Biochem, wrap up your USMLEs parallelly along with your MBBS in your first year. Second year, focus on your Patho Micropharmac. And if you're already in the second year, then you've already done your Anat Physio Biochem. Just revise those and focus on your Patho Micropharmac. And then in the third year, revise and go and give the exam. Get done with the major part so that you can then focus on rest of the things. Apart from that, you can, if you have any opportunity in your college, like a student exchange program, then go for it. Currently, because of the COVID pandemic, everything is closed. Otherwise, you know it, that most of the colleges do host intercollegiate, UG conferences. Go there, travel to those colleges, participate in those symposiums, paper presentation, poster presentation, case presentation, get certificates, get those letters. Fine. If your college is hosting any kind of UG conferences, try and be in the panel of organizing committee, some kind of, president, vice president, organizing chairman, etc. And get that letter, which really adds, because then that also shows reflects in your personality that yes, you've handled a team, you've arranged for events, which means you are a go-getter. You are, a multidimensional, personality, and that's what really, shows, and that is what is important. They want those kind of go-getters, not someone who's just sitting in his cabin and saying, okay, fine, next patient, next page. They don't want that, right? If you can try and get into any kind of extracurricular activities, volunteering, or working for some NGOs. Please do that if you get some kind of opportunities. If you already are into sports, that's great. That's certainly going to add a lot of value to your CV. So if you have these 9 to 10 pointers, not all compulsorily, because one of you might not be good at sport. That does not mean that you go for sports classes. But I'm just saying that out of these 10 pointers, even if you have like 2 or 3 or more, it's certainly going to help you get one of the most vernacular, beautiful, outstanding CVs that these guys are expecting, right? Now, just to talk about the USMLE timelines, you all are currently into the medical school, awaiting your medical degree or award, which is the MBBS. Once you start preparing for USMLE exams with Kaplan, on an average, step 1, in our experience, we've seen it takes about 9 to 12 months for your USMLE prep. Now, one of you might just smartly ask me, but sir, I've already done my first year and second year and I've like scored great. Why do I need 9 to 12 months? So the answer to that, my friend, is you've done your first and second MBBS, which means you know your basic sciences. That does not necessarily mean that you know your USMLEs. Because the moment I give you an 8-hour exam, I challenge you, your 80s and 90% that you've scored in your college is going to drop down as bad as 40 and 50%. Because you're not used to an 8-hour pattern. You're not used to a clinical vignette format. The format in your college is write a short note on this and write a merits and demerits of that. Here, it's like a clinical vignette format. 35-year-old lady brought into the emergency room. Vitals are so and so. Things to do A, B, C, D, E. So those kind of questions you're not exposed to, and which is why it takes time. And I'm going to discuss why it takes time and what is the approach of USMLE studies. I'm going to talk about that also soon. So just hold on for some time. On an average, step 2 CKA should take about 4 to 6 months, not more than that. And once you're done with that, you receive the ECFMG certification. I'm sorry, there's no step 2 CS exam anymore. It is cancelled, as I told you. So instead of that, you can just treat that as the OET exam. 1 to 2 months is more than sufficient. After that, you send across your applications for the matching process, which happens once in a year, which is 1st September to 15th of September. Once you've sent across your applications for matching process, then you begin with your residency in the US, which is anywhere between 3 years to 6 years. So medicine, pediatric psychiatry would be like 3 years program. OBGYN, radio, neuro would be like a 4 years program. General surgery would be a 5 years program. Neurosurgery would be a 6 years program. Cardiology, Yeah, cardiology will also be a 5-year program because it's like a 3 years of medicine plus 2 years of cardio. So, different programs will need different timelines in the US. So the longer you stay in the US, the more exposure that you get from the US, the more money that you earn in the US, the more networks that you build in the US, and which is why you should aim that you should, or rather pray that you should be in the US for as long as you can. Don't take this as a study, take it as an employment opportunity. Now, as I told you, step 3 exam is a licensing exam. You need this to obtain a license to practice medicine in the US. Now, there's a difference. Step 1 and step 2 is mandatory, without which you cannot send an application to the US residency. But step 3 exam, there's choice. You can give your step 3 exam before you apply for match, or you can give the step 3 exam once you've reached the US and maybe in the first or second year of residency, you can parallelly appear for the step 3 exam, right? The difference is if you give a step 3 before you apply, which is step 1, step 2, CK, and step 3, when you have these 3 together and then you apply, you have a likely chance of applying for the residency on a H-1B work permit visa, which means today your residency got over, tomorrow you can continue on your visa and work in the US. But in absence of that, if you're applying on a step 1 and step 2 CK, then you apply for a match and then you go to the US and then you take a step 3 after a year or 2, then you cannot change your visa to a H1. You will always be on a student visa, which is called as the J1 visa. So the J1 visa is today your residency got over. Within 30 to maximum 60 days, you will be asked to vacate the country and go back to your home country. So you all will have to come back and be somewhere in Chennai, Madurai, Coimbatore, and start working there and practice. You can't stay back in the US. So depending on what are your life goals, you want to stay back or you want to come back, that's completely up to you, based on which you're supposed to take a step 3 before you apply or after you go there and apply. That's completely up to you, but this is the basic difference of giving a step 3 before or after. I hope I'm clear so far, and let's move further. Now whatever that we have spoken, this is the same in a calendar format, where June is when you apply for the residency token. July is when 𝑀yERAS opens. August is when you upload all the necessary relevant supporting documents. 1st to 15th September is when you submit your applications. October to Jan is the interview season, when you will be going to the US depending on your interview call. February is when you submit your rank order list. Rank order list is your choice of preference. That my number 1 preference is University A, my second preference is University B, my third choice is University C. Same way, when you came to this college, you had to give some preferences. Similarly, you'll have to give your preference there, and depending on your preference and their assessment, you will be matched, and the match results would be out on the 15th of March or mid of March, and 1st of July is when your residency begins in the US. That's what we had discussed. So if you want to know the important timelines, feel free to take a screenshot of this and save it for your future references, right? Fine. Just to give you a quick overview of last year applicants, you will see that the non-US IMGs, we had 61.1% of the non-US IMGs got matched last year, which means out of every 2 students applying, 1 student is getting in for sure. 2 besties are applying, 1 person is getting in for sure. So 60+% of success ratio is humongous. Trust me, we compare this with any other country, including India. I challenge you, you will not find it anywhere else. It is a huge number, right? And I would not really want you guys to be convinced just based on last year's statistics. You never know what is going to happen next year or what happened 5 years back. So which is why I present to you the last 10 years data on your screen. You will see year on year, especially all of us who belong to the non-US IMG category, which is the non-US international medical graduate category. You see, it began with a 39.8% to a 40 to a 47 to a 49, 49, 50, 52, 56, 58, and this, I mean, last year it was 61%. So year on year, the attraction towards US has increased for IMGs, and the requirements of US has always increased. And because US could not produce enough doctors, which is why they had to import doctors across the globe. And I don't know if you're aware, but in the IMG category, International Medical Graduate category, Indian students are at #1 position. Maximum international medical graduates are Indians. Then at #2 comes the Pakistanis, followed by Grenada, and then followed by rest of the countries. So you can imagine US is like a mini hub of Indian doctors, and that's where you guys should be, and which is why you guys are prepping, and I'm happy, which is why you're a part of this session. So this is how the historical match rate for the last 10 years has been, right? A quick watch on the last year's stats as well, which is the 2021. If you see here on the left hand side, first year residency positions offered were 34,266 last year, but in 2021 there were 35,194, which means there has been a rise of 928 seats. The biggest problem even in India is seats are less, but here you see year on year seats are also increasing. And on the right hand side, you see the participation. Last year, the IMGs who participated were 12,000. This year, it was 13,238, which means 1164 IMG students applied more as compared to last year. So, which means the demand and supply both increased from a 20 to a 21. Percentage or the total figures, I would say 7376 people who got matched last year, whereas 7508 who got matched in 2021, right? And 56.7% is the non-US IMG category, right? And even if I have to show about a pie chart, I don't know if this is called as a pie chart, the round one. So last year we had about, if I have to talk about the US citizens, were about 5,295 participants, and the non-US citizens were 7,943. So the comparison between US and non-US citizens was also on a higher level. All right. I would urge all of you to take a screenshot of this as well, because this talks about the average scores by specialty. Which specialty, what is the kind of average scores which are required or expected by the US hospitals or the universities. That's what this talks about, right? Here on, I would want you guys to just keep your Shutterbugs on, because you might need to click a lot of pictures and take a lot of screenshots. I'm going to present a lot of data, and I'm sure it might be helpful to you at some point in time. Right, this talks about the probability of non-US IMGs matching versus the USMLE step 1 score, which simply says that students with a 250 plus score on your step 1 have over 85% chance of matching. And for those who think that I'm going to give in a pass or fail and this is not going to help me, you're wrong. Even you're going to pass the exam in a pass-fail pattern, but even that pass at the back end will have some kind of a score. Because if you pass at a 194, you're also going to be a pass. And if I pass at a 260, I am also going to be a pass. So are you trying to say that both of us are going to be weighted equally? Sorry, you're wrong, because at the back end, they will certainly know both have passed, both qualify. But at what weightage? That is also important. At the back end, even they would be weighing your performance in the step 1. So I would still urge and appeal to the entire audience here. Don't take your step 1 lightly, because it is going to turn pass or fail. The weightage at the back end is certainly going to be taken into consideration. And that is what I don't want you to oh shit, I didn't know about this, otherwise I would have taken it seriously. That situation should not come. Now, step 1 pattern is changing, as I told you. How will this change affect the international medical graduates? Let's have a look. Step 1 is moving from a pass to fail from the 26th of Jan 2022. The exam attempts are going to reduce from 6 to 4. And after this change, other factors will likely increase in importance for students. which is going to in turn increase the competitiveness in the match. Like the step 2 CK score will be weighed more. Your step 3, until now it was like, either you give it or you don't give it, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure it will now come back in fashion where everyone will try and take a step 3 just to enhance the weightage of his or her CV. Although they don't want it, let me give a step 3 so at least I have a better chance. Everyone is going to have the same approach. The number of USMLE attempts, you failed, and third time you passed, but I just passed in the first attempt. So you had 3 attempts, I had 1 attempt. So that is going to be taken into consideration. Academic performance in medical school. Trust me, until now, your ACAD scores were never taken into consideration. But if everyone comes with a pass and if they need some qualifying factor, your academic performance will certainly be in limelight as to what has been your average score. So which is why, to avoid that, try and have good ACADs, no doubt, but have it uniform in your USMLEs also and your ACADs also. That's what I would want to make a point here. The letters of recommendation, the US clinical experience, and the years of medical school graduation, all of these will certainly be taken into consideration. All right. Few of our students who went through the same process, just like you heard me, then they got into it. And this is the end result. Dr. Manasa, who scored a 250 in step 1, 257 in a step 2 CK. Dr. Manish, who scored a 252 in his step 2 CK. Dr. Anita also scored a 252 in her step 2 CK. Dr. Manik Madan scored a 260 on his step 1. Dr. Nishal Kothari scored a 264 in her step 1. All of these are my students, and I'm really proud to present them. And I would want you guys also to be in my slides going forward, that hey, couple of my students also, I want this list to go on. Of course, I have other list also, but I don't want to take much of your time just to show other scores. But these are just a few of them who's got good, and a few of them have also got, like this year, one of my students also got into neurology. I'm very happy about it. Right now, obtaining US clinical experience is what we're going to talk about. What do you gain? First of all, you get the exposure to patients and acquiring skills required for patient care and work in a hospital. Then letters of recommendation is what you certainly get. And I told you the date of letter of recommendation, let it be as fresh as possible. It will help you improve your communication and interpersonal skills, because that's what is required. Let's remember one thing. We come from a different country, different approach of patients, different healthcare system. US is completely different, and we want to get adapted, because for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, we are going to stay in their country. So it's better to adapt their interpersonal skills, the way you approach, the way you talk, the way you handle, as early as you can. It will help you do the networking and connections in your specialty, so that once you're done with your program there, it will be easy for you to quickly get employed and picked up by some hospital there. That's what it helps you with, because sooner or later your CV will also be registered in the database of their job site portals, and that's what helps you if you go to the US ones. It will also help to prove your interest and commitment to a certain specialty, because let's say you come for an interview, you sit in front of me, and either you've not done any clinical rotation, or you're sitting for a OBGYN interview in front of me, and you're giving me 3 letters of recommendation of internal medicine. Obviously, that will prove that OBGYN is not your area of interest, but you're sitting here because you got an interview call. Vis-a-vis, if you have a OBGYN letter of recommendation and a US clinical experience, then you can talk for hours and hours in front of me, which shows your passion and commitment towards that specialty, that yes, he or she really means it, which is why they've got a good score in this. They've done this research in the same specialty. They've done clinical experience in the same specialty, which means they're serious and passionate about that specialty. So don't do a crisscross thing. It helps you learn about the clinical practice, electronic records, hospital administration, relevant rules and regulation, life cycle of a hospital, life cycle of a patient, everything that you understand by doing the clinical experience. So it is very important. Again, I repeat, that's the last thing that you should be aiming at, right? In case if some of you have joined late, please take a screenshot of our contact details. We have our office in Chennai. That would be the closest for you, or maybe Hyderabad. We have an office in Bangalore. Do think of visiting us if you need any personal guidance from us. Now, if you want to begin, where do you begin with? First thing that I would urge everyone to is take a diagnostic exam. It acts as strengths and weaknesses. It acts like a baseline exam. What's a diagnostic exam? It's nothing but a replica of your real USMLE exam. But don't worry, your real USMLE exam is a 7-hour long exam. This is exactly 50%, which is a 3.5-hour exam. Real USMLE offers you 280 questions. In the diagnostic test, we offer you 150 questions. It's a free test that we are offering in case if you want to test yourself as to where do you stand as of today. I would not recommend a first year student to take this exam, but anyone who is like in the second half of second year, third year, final year and interns should certainly take this exam to test themselves. So at least you know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and how good are you at a particular topic or a subject, right? I am not answering any question right now, so please hold your questions for some time. We should be done in another 15 odd minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we can start with the Q&A, right? Now, maximizing the resources. Kaplan will offer you these resources, which is the physical copy of textbooks, the pre-recorded lectures, the assessment tests, the live online lectures, and the question bank. Now, irrespective that you do all or one of them, but the key here to get the best out of you is do questions, 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 and questions. The more questions that you do, trust me, you will come out and you will show that yes, this is what I am. Because no matter you study, for example, heart or a tissue, you study for 1 day or 1 year or 10 years, heart is going to remain heart and a tissue is going to remain tissue. You're not going to improve your knowledge base in any way. Vis-a-vis, if you do hundreds of questions based on the topics, then you know that how the topic or how the question can be twisted to what an extent and where are you lacking. So that you can know your strengths and weaknesses only through the questions and not by mere studying. So there's a proper approach that Kaplan has. Kaplan does not get success just out of nowhere. It is a proven theory that we have, and that's what helps our students. Let's say, irrespective of what you study and how you study, from day one till the last day, I want you to do questions, 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 and over a period of time, improve your total number of questions. Just don't sit at 2 to 4 questions a day. First start with 2 to 4 questions a day. Over a period of time, cater to about 40, 50 questions in a day. Only then you will build that endurance. You do Kaplan books, do questions. You do Kaplan videos, do questions. You do Kaplan quizzes, assessments, do questions. You do the Kaplan's live lectures or the live online lectures, do questions. Once you're done with Kaplan, don't stop with questions. You want to do your NBME test, do questions. Do as many questions as you can. Only then you will see how much you have improved, where you started from a point 0 and today where are you. You will see a difference in yourself. Now, if you want to know USMLE step 1, what and how to study, where do I start from? I don't know. Please guide me. No problem. I'll tell you. See, there are going to be study phases, and if I have to show you on a roadmap, there are certain milestones that you will have to achieve. First, review your entire material, because unless and until you know what the content is offered, you won't be able to judge the roadmap. After that, once you've reviewed the entire material, which is 60% of your efforts, then the next 15% of your efforts is to do the remediation. Remediate the entire process. Where are you going wrong? Why are you going wrong? That's the next 15%. And then the balance 25% is all about practice. Now that you've reviewed the content, you've identified your weak areas. Where are you going wrong? Why are you going wrong? Now practice those weak areas. We all know you're good at anatomy. Don't show off your anatomy skills. No one is interested. But we all know your your physio and your biochem is the weakest of the lot. Focus those areas. Practice those areas. That's what the study helps. If you do this, guys, I can assure you success. I can literally assure you success. Follow this, and then we will talk. You will come back to me saying, sir, it really helped me. Right? Now, Kaplan certainly has a study strategy. What we recommend is first do the Kaplan notes, the physical copy of textbooks that we offer. Next, once you've done the notes, go through the on-demand videos, solve the question bank, and then do the first aid book as well. Then do the Kaplan's live lectures. I mean the live, as in the live online lectures, and the medical advisor. So sitting at the comfort of your home at evening 7 o'clock this time, you're going to do Kaplan's live online lectures. The faculty from US is going to come online. You're going to come online from your respective home terminals or hostels, wherever that you stay, and it's live and interactive. Do those. You will also be assigned with a one-on-one medical advisor. They are going to be your guides, your mentors. They're going to tell you how you're supposed to study, what you should study, where are you going wrong. That's how it will help you, not otherwise. Because if you don't know your weak areas, then how would you be able to target those? So that's one thing that you should be focusing on. Do the UWorld and the NBMEs. I'm sure you must have heard of the UWorld and the NBMEs. That is really prescribed. You should do that. And once you've done this in this order, finally go and give your USMLE exam. And I'm sure you're going to come out with very beautiful scores, right? Certain new changes which are expected. A few of them have already come into existence. Few of them are expected. Let's go through those once. Step 1 is moving to pass or fail. We all know. Exam attempts reducing from 6 to 4. We have just discussed. Step 2 CS discontinued permanently. I just told you. OET exam remains till further notice. Now we don't know until when. They will do an official announcement. We will all get to know thereafter. There is a possibility of mini CEX, which is also called as the clinical evaluation exercise, which may replace the OET. Again, I'm telling you, this is nothing official in nature, but this is internal news. This is, again, I shouldn't have told you, but this is the possibility. This is what happened in the recent ECFMG meeting. And I was just the first one to bring this to your notice. Let's wait and watch until these guys actually implement this. They may or may not implement. There's a lot of debate and argument happening on this. Should they or should they not? But let's wait and time will tell us. Quickly take a picture or screenshot of this chart, which talks about which specialty, what are the average median scores required, how many years of residency do you spend into that particular residency, the average mean hours that you end up working after the completion of your residency, and the average start salary into that particular specialty. So you know your financial worth if you are doing your residency from the US, right? I hope and believe you've taken a screenshot. Let's move on. Take a screenshot of this chart as well, which talks about which specialty, how many positions are offered, how many applicants typically do apply against those positions, the percentage of non-US IMGs, what is the success ratio against that specialty. So I'm sure this is also going to be handy for you. Right. Finally, why Kaplan? Because finally, world's greatest faculties are with Kaplan for the last several years, several decades that the faculty members are teaching. And that's why, because of these great faculty members, we are able to produce such beautiful scores, which I've already shown to you. We have the top quality medical education, medical advisors. All our medical advisors are doctors. They've done their USMLE, so they're quite experienced to tell you the insight of the exam. Flexible study options are also given to you. So right now, the two options that we have is sit at home and study or go to the US. One, because of pandemic. Second, because of first year and second year, you cannot leave your curriculum and go to college, go to US to study. So in person is ruled out. The only option left at this point in time is sit at home and study from your home, which is through your live online. These are the resources that Kaplan offers you with. One is the comprehensive study resources, lecture notes, on-demand videos, diagnostic exam, assessment exam, full-length exam, question bank. All these are given to you on day one of your enrollment. These are the physical copy of textbooks, which we offer to our students, right? All 2021 recent updated material is what you get along with the course. When you solve the question bank, you have 100% custom made, tailor made question bank where you can check mark on the boxes on what topics or what organ systems or disciplines or systems that you would want to study or practice. Then you want unused questions, correct questions, incorrect questions, or the attempted questions, difficulty level, what you want to select, everything you can tailor made. You want, when you start with your video lectures, This is how your video library looks like. Just click on one of the topics and the video lecture starts. There are quizzes, there are subject-wise tests. This is how your screen looks like when you begin with the recorded lectures. This lecture is on gonad development. This is how your performance review is automatically shown on your screen. How many questions, how many seconds did you take, what topic was that from, what is your performance, etc. Everything is what it is shown. Then again, it gives you a detailed analysis in a graph form as well as percentage form. Easy questions, how many could you attempt, medium, how many could you attempt, hard, how many could you attempt, how many total questions you attempted, what is the percentage of Q bank that you've completed, system wise, topic wise, everything that it will give you in detail, right? If you were in the US, you would have had a face-to-face discussion with our medical advisors, but because you're going to be here in India, it happens through a video call, either through a WhatsApp call or a Teams call or a Zoom call or any other medium of your choice, like a Hangout call, any call. So you can just meet with your faculty frequently, make a study plan. They will tell you, okay, fine, looking at your current performance, this should be your plan of action, A, B, C, D, E. Do this, solve these, exercises, solve these many questions, and meet me after 15 days, 1 month, whatever. And then that's how you proceed further. And that's how your entire thing is being taken care of. Because let me tell you, these medical advisors are doctors, as I told you, and they are your mentors. So they are going to handhold you through the entire process, because your grade scores, your passing, your placement in the university, all the responsibility lies on their shoulders. So for example, if you go to a gym, you have a personal trainer. That's exactly what the role of my medical advisor here is, right? So that's one of the beautiful features that Kaplan has, and which is why Live Online is one of the best programs that Kaplan has to offer. Once you match, we have parties across our Kaplan offices where people just have a I matched kind of a board in their hand. I matched. And that's how I would want to see your pictures and photographs as well, right? Now, until 30th of June, we had one offer which we have closed, but only for Agam members. We have opened this again only for the next 10 days. A non-Agam member will not be able to avail of this offer. The offer is, if you enroll for any of the Kaplan courses, one, you get a UWorld subscription absolutely free along with the course. 2, you get a first aid 2021 physical copy of textbook absolutely free. 3, you get a free NBME assessment test along with the course. All 3 is what you get in the Kaplan course, provided you join this before the 10th, because as I told you, this offer is already expired. It is not available outside. But for Agam members, we have opened the window only for the next 10 days. How to join? Our contact details. Just get in touch with us and we can help you further. But before that, for rest of you, if you want to take a diagnostic test, this is a link for the free diagnostic test. Go to this link after this session is done. Similarly, the way we spoke about Med Essentials in the beginning, register for this as well, diagnostic test. And within 24 to 48 hours, you should have a free diagnostic in your Kaplan accounts. Registration process remains the same, just like the Med Essentials. You can register for either for both or just one of it. That's your choice. No problem. If you think that my session was informative and I've given you good information, I keep on solving a lot of student queries on Quora. I'm sure you know about the Quora portal. If you want to follow me there and you want to know more, you want to read through the previously attempted questions, you want to know about the future questions that I would be answering, you can follow me on Quora. That's my Quora ID. Just go to this and click on the follow button and you will be able to read through all the answers of the residency and USMLE related that I've answered in the past and future as well, right? We keep posting a lot of informative stuff on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to join our YouTube channel. There are a lot of informative videos like these. Please go through all of those. These are the links to the social media. Just take a picture of this and join us in your free time. And I'm sure it is certainly going to be helpful for you, right? Again, if you now feel like visiting us, contacting us, for the last time I'm flashing my contact details. Take it and keep those handy with you any point in time. Now with this, I announce this as we are done with the session. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask one by one. I would urge all of you, request all of you to mute yourself. Only the speaker who wants to ask his questions can unmute himself or herself, ask questions. Once I'm done answering, mute, and then the next person can come in, right? Thank you so much. Questions, please.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Good evening, sir. My name is 𝗂𝗏𝗃. I'm second year from 𝗀𝗵𝒂𝗃𝗃, Chennai.
Okay.
My question is like the matching process. What you said about this ICMR and a lot of this elective thing, but in COVID it's not possible. Like ICMR we can't do it now. I mean, the stuff
Correct.
which adds up to the CV cannot be done. So how can we add up to the CV that way?
Well, anything which is COVID related, you or me at this point in time have no option, no choice than to keep those plans on hold. But other things, like for example, case presentation, paper presentation, poster presentation, these events are happening online. So you can still participate now. And we all are hoping that, things will open up soon. The COVID pandemic, vaccination, everything should go down in the next 6 to 12 months. Maybe you can at least work on your research. And then once it opens up, apply through the STS program and get that published. That's the best that I can suggest you at this point in time.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. You can mute yourself.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, can a resident of MBBS, for example, if you are doing intern in US, is there a possibility that they can skip all these steps, or like is there any priority for them to appear for the PG exam for the USMLE and get a PG seat in US?
Every citizen, no matter he's a US citizen or a non-US citizen, has to go through the same process.
Okay, if we skip our internship in India and do it in US also, they should appear for US like every other citizen.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, getting an internship in the US is not easy. I mean, just consider very skim chance of getting an internship in US because you're coming from a different healthcare system. So you will not be able to touch the patient over there. There are a lot of restrictions. So that particular choice or option is ruled out. Okay, which is why, because you can't do internship there, which is why we ask students to do US clinical rotations. But even as I said, you do US clinical rotations,
okay.
Even if you are from India or you're from US, you can't skip anything. Even if you're a US national, you still have to go through the entire process. Even those guys will also give a step 1, step 2. You will also have to give a step 1, step 2.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir,
one by one, rest of
sir,
you can just mute. I will answer all questions. Don't worry, I'm not going away.
So some of them are like writing the USMLE step 1 after 5th year, like after internship, sir. Or during the internship, and that telling that like it's safe to do it later.
Which year are you in right now?
Now I'm in 1st year, sir. So if it's better to do after 2nd year or like after internship, sir.
Well, that's what last 2.5 hours I've been talking the same thing. Doing it either in the internship or after internship is very, very, very lethal. You are in first year right now, right?
Yes, sir.
If I ask you something about CVS, CNS, brachial plexus, how easy would that be for you to answer? If I ask you the same after your internship, how easy would that be for you to answer? Because when you know that time, you've got orthopedics, you've got opthal, you've got OBGYN on your mind. How easy would that be to answer a first year, question then? Or is it going to be easy now?
No, sir.
So I hope you have the answer to your own question.
Yes, sir. Why I asked this that like one of my family friends they wrote after 5th year and now she's she's doing cardiology there, sir.
She did there fine. With all due respect, that's great. My point is, she did. Does that mean that others can do it? Everyone will have a different capacity. No. My point is, see, I'm not trying to underestimate her. I'm not trying to say she's done something right or wrong. All I'm trying to say is, everyone has a different capacity. And she has a different plan. You may have a different plan. I told you the reason. This is not the only reason that you should be doing your step 1 or USMLEs now, as in the step 1. Because I told you in the 3rd year, you get enough time to improvise your CV, your research, your publication, etc. Plus, by the time you're going to give your step 1, it is going to be pass-fail. We also discussed that other factors will now be taken into consideration, which is your year of graduation. Which means if you start your USMLE preparation after your graduation, what is going to happen is you will end up having academic year gaps in your CV. 1 year gap, 2 year gap, or maximum of 3 years gap. And when the program director will ask you, why is there a gap of 2 years or 3 years in your CV? You might end up answering, sir, I was studying for USMLE. He will say, big deal. I've got thousands of students who've done it parallelly. When they can handle 2 things at the same time, which is their MBBS and USMLEs, so they have better potential than you. So directly or indirectly, you are trying to tell them that, boss, I'm not capable of handling 2 things parallelly, MBBS and USMLE. That's the wrong message that you're giving through your acts and deeds, which is certainly lethal. So I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but if you have to do it and you want good results, I would suggest start now, give it in the 3rd year, finish step 1, 3rd year, 4th year, focus on your CV, your research, or any other extracurriculars, your final year, your academics. There are 100 things to focus on. In the internship year, finish your step 2 CK, finish your OETs, go to the US, do your clinical rotations, and then you apply.
Okay.
And come back and see me. Sorry?
Sir, if I should write in the in starting of 3rd year, sir, when I should enroll, when I should start my preparation, sir?
I told you, if you can start as early as 1st year, because parallel you can finish your anat physio biochem in the 1st year. Pathomicropharmac, you can do it in the 2nd year. So you get more time, lot of time to dive deep into the step 1 syllabus. Check every corner. Is there something left out? Is there something that I'm missing?
No, sir. No, sir.
Is there any question that I have not answered? Because 2nd year, you'll be busy with your 2nd year. You'll be busy with your 2nd year USMLE subjects. You'll be busy with your 1st year USMLE subjects. You will not find enough time for question bank, taking tests. And then you will just finish and wrap up hurriedly, which is again not good because you're not doing justice to your USMLEs.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
So my question is, instead of an internship, if we do a diploma in public health or something, would we get a better shot in getting residency, sir?
First of all, let me tell you, since 2008, I will tell you the exact year also. Since 2008, Masters in Public Health has really got into an ugly shape. I'm not saying you're not going to get it, but most of the students whose visa used to get denied, they started taking this route of getting into, they do the GRE, then get into the Masters of Public Health. get a F1 visa, go to the US, parallelly study for USMLEs, and then try their luck there. So getting into Masters of Public Health, I would certainly say, if you want to get into residency, then don't get into public health. And if you want to get into public health, then don't think about USMLEs or residency.
So like any other residency, so like any other diploma, like diploma in clinical research like that.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying. How many opportunities are available? First, do a research on that. What are the chances of visa acceptance and other logistical things? Check that. Thirdly, only residency is free. Rest everything is paid. What are the expenses? Make a list of that. And how soon should you be starting? What are your budgets? Try to tally with that, and then you can take a shot on that. But again, you will certainly, I'm not saying you're not going to get, I'm not underestimating you, ma'am. But all I'm saying is you'll have to do a deep lot research on this, and then you want to get into it.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi, sir.
This is Richard.
I guess 2-3 people are talking parallel. Just take your name so at least others know that they are sending.
Hi, sir. This is Richard.
Hi, Richard. Tell me.
Yeah, sir. Why aspirants are not able to get the scores in spite of the high scores like 250 above or 260? Though the scores are 260 or 250, why the match percentages are 80%?
Who is getting a 250 and 260 and who's not got? Can you just specify more so at least I know what your question is?
Sir, as per the statistics you have said, though they are getting above 250, the statistics as you are saying, it's even if it's above 80 or 250, it's about 85%. I suppose, I think. That's why I'm not clear on those statistics. That's why I ask you, is there any problem even after getting those high scores?
Simple. You have a score, which is fine. That's the first cut. You have cleared that. But let's say you do not have a proper strategy. You want to get into surgical branch and your CV is shabby. You've not done enough clinical rotations. You don't have that exposure, or your CV is not that great. Or maybe you've not done a research which is really required as a part of requirement to get into surgical branch. Obviously, you are bound to not get that seat. Second aspect, you check the total vacancy for internal medicine, which is almost 7,500 plus. And then you check the total vacancy in surgical branches, which is about 1,300 to 1,500. On top of that, there are going to be US locals who are going to fight for that. International students are also going to fight for that. When you know that your score is about, let's say 250 and 260 is required, idealistically in that particular scenario, instead of surgery, you should have applied for either a OBGYN or a radiology. That will really match, because students end up applying to wrong colleges. And everyone, I mean, again, I would not blame students, because who wouldn't want the best? But what students do is they end up applying to Ivy League colleges. Harvard, Stanford, Duke's, Yale. Now, obviously, their expectations will also be accordingly. Acha, forget about everything. Let's say, Richard, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, Richard, you've got the best possible CV. You've got the best possible score. You've got everything good as per requirement. You've qualified the requirement. But when you went and they interviewed you, they asked you X, you answered Y, maybe because you are nervous, or maybe you are not exposed, or whatever it is, right? Because I have come across students who have also lied in their, in their interviews. One of the students whom I know tried to apply in pediatrics. Oh, so pediatrics. So why pediatrics? Have you worked in pediatrics? Have you worked in an ICU? Have you worked in neonatal or postnatal? Okay, fine. What was your experience? Did you come across any emergency situation? How did you tackle that? What was your role into it? Have you worked in an ICU, etc.? And if you don't know, then say, I don't know. I've not got an exposure in that area, sir. But a couple of students whom I know, they ended up faking things. They got caught and they were out. So a lot many things. You goof up in your interviews as well. Just because you've got the greatest of the score does not promise you 100% seat. It has to be a combination of everything.
Thank you, sir. And one more thing, sir. How much this would be the expenses to complete those entire USMLE?
See, if I have to talk about all the steps put together, every single penny involved in the process of your entire residency, which includes your Kaplan coaching, your ECFMG, your exam fee, your application, your flight cost for the interviews, your US clinical rotations, application cost, everything put together should not exceed about 20 odd lakhs over a period of next 5 to 7 years.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to ask 2 questions. Sir,
one person. Name, please.
Sir, Srihar. I'm Srihar, sir.
Yes, Srihar. Tell me.
Sir, does the college really matters? My UG college really matters in my USMLE preparation. I'm unfortunately from a U college, so I don't have any seniors or residents. Does it really
matters
matter?
In what sense? No. Matters in what sense?
In terms of research, I have no help, and in many, I lack many opportunities. So does it matter, sir?
Well,
in preparing
which brand you're coming, which brand you are coming from does not really matter. But what really matters is only one thing, that your college currently is that registered in the World Directory of Medical Schools. That's what they want to know, nothing more than that.
Sir, and the next one is, does the getting visa, H1B visa is that difficult in terms of medical?
Well, again, as I said, it is not a guaranteed thing that you will certainly going to get. But yes, one thing I can promise you is you certainly have better chances of getting a H1B, because when they are going to give H1B, I mean the US Embassy, it is not only based on the total number of, because they have a quota each year, and that quota is divided amongst different fields, like IT people, let's say 500. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. IT people 500, commerce people 500, etc. So medical H1, this is the only way of getting H1. There's no other way of getting H1 for medical. So which is why residency is the only way out, and which is why it is, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed thing, but it is not tough as well if you fulfill the requirements.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thanks.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Hello,
Abhinav.
I am Rajesh.
Rajesh, okay.
Yeah. Sir, is there a possibility that an Indian student can get into a categorical surgery position? Because I haven't seen anyone from India getting into categorical position.
Yes, categorical is certainly possible. You haven't seen is fine. Because I'll be very honest and upfront. You will not have hundreds of success stories, because as it is getting a surgical seat, I told you, total of 1,300 to 1,500 seats each year. On top of that, first priority definitely will be and has to be given to US candidates. Because a person like you, for example, you go there, you do a free surgery for 5 years, residency for 5 years. And what if after your 5 years, you say, hey, I want to go back to India, I don't want to stay here. Then what has US gained out of you? Nothing. US rather has lost a potential surgeon of their country, which is why they will first try and secure the minimum threshold by giving preference to their local candidates. And then the rest of the seats are given to the international students. So on top of that, you're asking for, categorical, etc. So this could be the reason why you have not come across many such cases, because I tell you, globally, even we don't come across more than 5 or maximum 10. I mean, double digit is very rare. Single digit, certainly you will. We definitely come across every year on year. So again, chances are less, but yes, there are certain chances.
Sir, and one more thing, that you said 20 lakhs for the whole process. Is it including the electives?
What did I say? Every penny included. which means today, if you set aside in a box, if you keep a cash of 20 lakhs, you don't have to add a single rupee to that. You just have to withdraw as and when it's required.
Sir, the thing is, when applying for the electives, we need to pay for our own college, something like, I have heard like 7 lakhs something. Is that true, sir?
Hospital?
Yeah, to our college. When we apply for electives during our internship, we need to pay like 7 lakhs to our own college, like the compensation fees.
Not at all. You are taking a break of 2 months or 1 month or 3 months, depending on the tenure. And you are taking a break because you want to go to the US and gain that exposure. Why should you pay your college? Nothing. That's wrong information. And if your college is doing so, that's, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sound harsh, but that's something illegal.
Okay. Sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, Abhinav.
I have a doubt. While applying, sir, can we apply for like a general surgery position and an internal medicine position, so like for safety, or like?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Rather, you should. Because even if it is only internal medicine, also no one can guarantee that. So as a second thing, I don't recommend more than 3, but up to 3 different specialties you can. One piece of advice. If you want to apply into different categories, which is surgery and medicine, you can do that. But don't do that in the same college. Do surgery in one college and medicine in a different college. That is fine. Because when you go for interviews, there is a possibility that second floor, you went for surgery, interview, and you said, sir, surgery is my passion. I just love blood. I just love this. I love that. I'm the best candidate. And then after 2 days again in the same building on the 3rd floor, you go for an internal medicine interview, and in the corridor you come across the program director of surgery. So it's better to apply somewhere else. That's fine. But yes, to answer your question,
so if
you can certainly, or rather you should.
So if I do like prepare research and also if I do it for general surgery and like if I don't have a research for internal medicine, then it will reduce my chance of getting it into internal medicine.
So, which is what did I tell you some time back? Please recollect. Every word that I spoke has a deep meaning. Do at least 3-4 clinical rotations. I never said do 4 rotations in the same field, which means you can do 2 in surgery and 2 in medicine. Number 1. Number 2, what did I also say? Do that towards the end. The last thing that you should do is rotations. Why? Because by then you know a couple of things. One, what is your performance in USMLE? Do you qualify for surgery? No, because my score is 230, for example. Okay, in step 1 also, step 2 secure, which means surgery is out. Then why do you want to spend another 4-5 lakh rupees and do a clinical rotation in surgery? Then might as well you do everything in medicine, because that will strengthen your chances in internal medicine.
Yes,
and which is why that's the last thing. Last thing meaning what? Because now let's say 4 months down the line you want to apply. At least by then you know everything. My internship is done. My academics in the last 4 years were ABC. My chances of this thing is XYZ, whatever. And now I am 110% sure that I have dropped my plans for surgery, and internal medicine is the only thing. So when you are investing your time and money in the last leg, in the last phase, you are 110% confident that yes, I want to do it in X discipline only. And you may further reduce it down either from a 3 to 2 and 2 to 1 also. That's absolutely fine, which is why keep your rotations towards the end.
So then, for example, if you get a temporary surgery position, sir, and the categorical position in other like fields like internal medicine, family medicine, like that, sir. So then it should be a better option, sir. Like taking a temporary position in surgery.
You will no. You will get matched only in one place. You will not have 10 offers. Surgery is also offering you and medicine also offering you. That will never happen.
Yes, so if you get a temporary position, is it good to take it, or?
See, when you know that it's a situation, it's a situational call. When you know that something which is permanent in hand, then I would rather recommend, if I was you, I would have taken something which is permanent in nature. You take a categorical position, and if there's no guarantee thereafter, then what? You'll have to come back to India.
Yes, sir.
Plus,
So,
it is also situational. It is also a situational call. At that point in time, how strong are your chances? How strong is your entire profile? Do you think they really adore you as a doctor? They'll just love you as a surgeon. They are certainly going to take you on a permanent role. Then that's a separate story. So it's a situational call you'll have to take. But right now, I guess it's too. We are thinking about too far. At this point in time, all I can say is,
in that process, you'll guide that time. Like,
sir, I am there from beginning till the end.
yes.
The question is not about will I be there and will I be guiding. The question is about you. Will you be associated with me, or would you be doing it on your own? Because I come across many students. Sir, actually, I just took some information from my senior and I did it on my own. Arey Baba, but no one ever bothered to check that senior who is telling you, is he right, or he's just telling you based on his senior's experience.
Yes, sir.
So you have to stick to someone. Either you stick to your senior, you stick to me. That's your choice. I'm not forcing you.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Abhinav. All the best.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hi, who's this?
Sir, I'm Anu.
All right. Hi. Tell me.
Sir, what's the odds for a student in internship who's doing MBBS in India to get into USMLE if he or she has just decided that they want to pursue their post-graduation in US?
I'm sorry, Anu, you'll have to just repeat that. So what exactly you're trying to ask me?
So, a person who's in internship in India has just decided he just made up his mind to take post-graduation in US. Is there a chance for him?
All I can
Because
tell
he
you,
could
Anu,
not do an elective.
yeah, that's fine. All I can tell you, just two last things. One, are you ready to take up the challenge to study for USMLE at 5 times the speed? Because one, USMLE is changing to pass-fail, and you still have a last chance before January to appear for the exam and prove yourself with a 3-digit score, quantify your potential. Because as I told you some time back, that once it becomes pass or fail, it's going to be like, a mixed pool. Everyone is going to be a pass. So 260 is competing with 194, or 200 is competing with a 240. So it's going to. So how do you expect the program directors to spot Dr. Anu out of thousands of doctors? And the only way out is USMLE scores, because as I told you, they're going to filter out basis the scores. If you want to be spotted, then you need that scores. That is one. Secondly, I don't want you to just get into it and study for 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. It will take you long. And then those gap years, 2 years and 3 years and 4 years might, what should I say, might really turn as a scar on your CV. So, which is why I said, if you're up for the challenge that, yes, I'm ready to do this because this is my last chance, and as if there's no tomorrow, if you feel, yes, USMLE is for you.
Will not doing an elective in US affect anyway, sir? Does that mean that he or she cannot get into the program?
I'll tell you, see, I can't answer your question process-wise, because to do an elective, nowhere on the official website it is written that you got to have, otherwise you can't show your face. But if you see, as of today, it has become a fashion. Every student comes with 2 months or 3 months or 4 months of electives. Now, if I have to interview you and I see that out of thousands of applications, this one application of Dr. Anu is coming without any clinical rotation, do you really think that will even, motivate me to even pick up and have a look at your CV? Because I know that you don't have. What does that mean? That also means that let's say, for example, there's one Dr. Abhinav whom I just spoke to before you. He's coming with a 4 months of experience, which means he's well trained as per my US healthcare standards and system. So if I have to give him an opportunity, the time, energy, and money required for me to train Dr. Abhinav is going to be far less as compared to Dr. Anu. So as I said, I don't want to answer your question theoretically or as per the system, but as a human tendency or psychologically, I might not be interested to even look at your CV. So not doing is not an option. Not doing an elective is not an option. I would suggest do electives. If you can't do 4 months, at least do 2 months. But do it. Because during the interviews, you will have to speak something. You can't keep mum and shut when they're going to interview for about 45 minutes or 1 hour. Oh, so, okay, fine. You want to get into pediatrics? Fine. So what do you know? Or why do you think we should give you an opportunity? What have you done? What are your achievements? Now, if you keep on talking about India, sir, why back in Chennai I did this, back in Hyderabad I did this, they might say, okay, fine, go and then, work there. Why are you here? Tell me, what can you do here and what difference can you make? And how different are you? How special are you? That's how you will have to prove yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me on this point?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's right.
So that's how it works. So psychologically, that's how it works.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Anu.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Rajesh. Who's this?
Sir, Mohammed, sir.
Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed. Anu, you can just mute yourself. Yeah, hi, good evening.
Sir, you spoke about the KAPLAN offers, sir. Offers in KAPLAN.
Right. Right.
Will those be available next year? Because I'm in first year right now. And will it be useful signing in first year itself, or will it be useful in second year, sir?
No. You're signing up for the offer now does not mean that you use them now. If you want to take, let's say, sometime back I showed you one KAPLAN strategy. UWorld and NBM is the last thing. So in the last phase, once you're done with KAPLAN, that's when you're supposed to use it. So although you're going to be using it then, although you're going to be activating it then, you're just availing it now, because later on it's going to be, you end up paying for it separately. So that is going to add to your kitty. Now, sometime back, I believe Rajesh or Abhinav, someone was asking me how much is the expense. I told you 20 lakhs. If you don't avail that now, then maybe you can add another 50,000 or 70,000 rupees to that. You might just end up spending about 20 lakhs and 70,000, or let's say about 21 lakh rupees. Right now, you're just freezing on the offer and you're utilizing that whenever you want, after 1 year, after 2 years, whatever.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Hello.
Hi, Sharan.
Sir, is it possible to break the internship after the commencement of next? Because there will be next 2. So within 12 months, we need to give next 2. So if there is any extension in internship, we will not be able to give the next 2, right?
Well, if that is the case, you can certainly do your rotations after your graduation also, right?
But it will become externship now, sir. We need to pay. We will not be like hands-on clerkship.
It should be. No. Now that's something that you're portraying, which is lack of knowledge. That's lack of knowledge. Sharan, there are not 1 or 2, but there are many students whom I send year on year who are graduates, and they do have hands-on experience. Now, this is something which, students in the college groups, they end up discussing, but that is wrong information. And this is one live example. Even after your graduation, you will still be eligible to touch the patient, perform on the patient. It is not called as an externship. It is called as a clerkship program, which is, and if you do it as a student, it is called as an elective. If you do it as a graduate, it is called as a clerkship. But in both the scenarios, you are allowed to touch the patient. Yes, what you've heard is partially right. Not many colleges or not all colleges will entertain you for a hands-on. So what you are referring to is those set of medical schools, maybe Harvard, Mount Sinai, or John Hopkins, who will not entertain you to touch the patient, perform on the patient as a graduate. But I am referring to a different set of hospitals or universities who will take graduates and who will allow the graduates to do the hands-on. Right, Sharan? So you don't have to, if next two really becomes tough, then you don't have to break your internship, come back to BC. I was here in Kaplan, I am here in Kaplan, and I will be in Kaplan even after you come back whenever your next two happens. Come back to me and ask me, sir, you promised me a hands-on, give me hands-on, and I will give you a hands-on.
Yeah, sir, but extensives are paid and it will be difficult to get. That's what I heard so far.
Everything is paid. Everything is paid, Sharan. Even electives are paid. Even if you go today also, it is paid.
But comparatively, extensives are more costlier than electives.
No.
Is it true?
I'm sorry. No. It's the same.
And one more thing, like electives
I'll give you. No. 1 second. I'll give you a live example. You go to Harvard Medical School. Harvard Medical School, as of today, will charge, say, around anywhere between $4,500 to $5,000 for 1 month. And if you come to me for any other, school where a graduate is entertained, you may end up about $3,500 to $4,000 also. So I have cheap options, I have medium options, and I've got the max to max that I have is about $6,000, not more than that. But again, that's not available for everyone. Only people who can afford it can take it. Otherwise, we have options of $3,000, $4,000 also, which is equivalent to electives, which these big Ivy League colleges are also, charging. Like if you go to FIU, they're charging you $3,000. Same is the case even after you graduate.
But usually there's a talk that electives were more valued than externships because we are still a student. So is that what matters? Electives are more valued than externships.
Now in your statement, now in your statement, you have yourself given one clue where it says it is said. Now when you say it is said, I don't know who is said. Is it you? Is it me? Is it someone else? I don't know. Number one. Number two, let's take a very practical example, Sharan. One, you have worked for, as a graduate, you have worked in ABC Hospital for 1 month. Okay. And I have worked in the same hospital as a student. What difference do you think, just a change of label, student and a graduate, except for a change of label, what exposure difference do you think there's going to be between your exposure and my exposure?
Yeah, I absolutely get you, sir, but there is a saying that if we are still a student and do the electives, it values more. And if you are already a graduate, it's like a backlog. Sharan.
I can clearly see you're coming with a blocked mind. You're coming with a preset mindset that it is said. Unless and until you show me something on the official website of a particular university, I will not accept that it is said. If it is said somewhere, USMLE.org, that's the official website. ECFMJ.org, that's the official website. NRMP.org, that's the official website. Show me on these websites, I will accept. Otherwise, I will not accept. You are saying it is said, said.
Fine.
I don't know who is said.
Yeah, I can get to this. So now, what will be the cost of doing 3 to 4 months of electives in internal medicine, whether we are a student or a graduate? What will be the total expense traveling there, coming back to here?
I told you 20 lakhs totally included.
No, just for electives.
Well, just for electives again, as I told you, there's a range. Like different universities, different $3,000, $4,000,
approximately in Indian rupees, like 5 to 7 lakhs is enough for 3 to 4 months of electives in US. Like approximate amount of only for electives.
No, I guess 5 to 7 for 4 months would be too less as an estimate that I would say. But let's say say about 8 odd lakhs, maybe for 2 to 3 months. That is what you should be aiming at.
Also,
because the majority of your expenditure is going to go only in electives or your clerkship, whatever you call it as. That's the clinical rotation. That's where majority of the money is going to go. Kaplan, both steps put together and including the exam fee is not going to be more than, let's say, 5 to 6 lakh rupees. then your flight cost, and this thing is say about 2 to 3 lakh rupees, including your application fees and other things. Now what is left is only rest of all is all your electives. If you don't, let me put it this way. If you don't do a single elective, then your total cost is going to be under 10 lakhs. Total cost. So you can just imagine.
Sir. And is it, are we possible to get? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Hello. Yeah, is it possible to get the zero tuition fee electives? I don't know, like what National Institute of Science something, like they offer zero tuition fee electives. That is it possible to get that?
Zero tuition fees for electives?
Yeah.
I never said anything of that sort. The zero fees is for residency, not for electives.
So that national something like national institutions.
National residency matching program. That's what I said. That those are the people who will do the matching for your residency position, not for your electives. Sharan, you're getting me wrong. Others, are you all equally confused? Did I say something wrong, or I mean, I'm just trying to
understand, sir, but like all the elective programs require a tuition fee, or is there some elective opportunity with zero tuition fee? That's what my point. I can get you.
Till the time you start your free residency, everything is paid, Sharan. That is your investment. Electives, there is nothing called as a free elective. Every elective is a paid elective. You have to pay for it.
Okay, sir.
Nothing is free. Only the free thing starts after you start your residency, not before that. And to get that residency, you're investing your money so that you can enhance your profile.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, all right.
And if we break the internship, we'll be able to give the next two. I am so confused in that, because if we break the internship for 2 to 3 months, we will extend our internship. So is it possible to give next to that year? Because you can't miss the opportunity in India also.
Correct. All I can say, Sharan, is I am equally new to next two the way you are. All of us are guinea pigs. Let the first batch of next two come out, and then based on their experience, what were the ups and downs, only then you and me can learn out of it. It is possible. Is it possible or not? Do deans allow that or not? Is there a problem with MCI for that or not? All these, we all are in the waiting process, because this is something new which has come. But as I said, if you think you can't break the internship in between, no problem. Come back to me after you graduate. I will give you a hands-on. I hope that is clear.
Okay, fine, sir. And one more question, a final question. Like, is there any program in KAPLAN that like they will guide us only in this process, sir? Like without this coaching, without these online lectures, just for applying ARAS, EFMG, electives, only for those things, is there any program in KAPLAN, and how much it cost? Final question.
I would suggest you can just approach the nearest closest office, because what programs, and this is like I'm not a salesperson, I'm a subject matter expert, so your closest office will be able to guide you better on the programs.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. No more questions? Are we done?
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. This is Akshita.
Yes, Akshita.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yes,
I'm a first-year student.
From which
Sir,
college?
and from 𝗀𝗵𝒃 Institute of Medical Sciences. So my course of MBBS started in Feb 2021, and being a 5.5 years course, probably it would end in August 2026. And the ERAS application starts in September, so I don't have even a month between my graduation and the start of the ERAS application. So when do I apply for electives? Which is the best time for me to apply for electives?
For applying for ERAS, you don't have to be a graduate. Even the year before, which is 25, that is when you will be in the internship. And I hope that by then your step 2 CK is also done. So that year's September is what you can target, provided everything happens in time, which is why I said finish and wrap up your step 1 early, so that in the first half of your internship, you have enough time for your step 2 CK followed by OETs and rotations. If you think you can do it by then, that's great. In 25, you will be able to finish it. Otherwise, even if you start the other process like a step 2 CK, OET and clinical rotations in the first half of your internship, by the time your internship is done, you have 1 full year. So 26 September is when you can apply. That's the latest.
Yes, sir, but when the next is being introduced, I can't push my internship further and take 2 months of break and go to US. So in that case, I need to complete my internship, get graduated. So between that graduation time and this, I have just 1 month. So
how many months do you have? How many months do you have? How many months do you have?
Sorry, how many months for?
I mean, from your graduation, when are you going to graduate? When is the last day of your internship?
Probably August 2026. Because I started in Feb 2021.
Feb 21. But then, how come you are in a 5.5 year course? Is a new course, next course is like the 5-year course, right?
I don't know.
Your second year. No, your second. Listen, your second year is supposed to be what? I'm saying your second year is supposed to be 2 semesters, and not 3.
Oh, okay.
So if you have begun in Feb, ideally you will finish it in Feb, not in August.
Oh, okay. So in that case, I might have time between Feb and September.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
The previous one, when MCI was there, that time it was second year was 3 semesters, and that time it was 5.5 years. But since the time this NMC and next has come, it is now a 5 years course. So your second year will have only 2 semesters.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Right. Fine. Thanks, Akshita.
Hello, sir. I am Pradesh.
Hi, Balaji.
Yeah. Sir,
Tell me,
my question is that we are going to complete USMLE somehow, but like John Hopkins is like the aims of India. Okay. So you are mentioning that there were 152 universities in US for accepting the PGs. So is there any category that these 10 institutions are the top for studying PG, or like others we can join, but they are not that rated when we compare to John Hopkins or another any institutions?
I'll tell you one thing. Ironically, what happens is when students are in the first year and second year of MBBS, everyone says that I want to get into John Hopkins and all Ivy Leagues and Mayo Clinic and things like that. But by the time they're into the internship and when they actually apply, they say, okay, fine, getting a residence is very important for me. I don't care whether it's John Hopkins or not. And that's the fact. Let me set your expectations very clearly. Trying for it is a different thing.
That, sir.
Getting
but I understand that. Like what to say? Those who are studying in John Hopkins or like, let me take India. If you study in AIMS, like that's a great recognition, right? Rather than working in like maybe a deemed institution or some other thing.
Correct.
Yeah, like that. Is there any discrimination in US? I am asking that.
There's no discrimination as such, as I said. So first you will have to. So now you are in which year? First year?
Sorry.
Which year are you in right now?
Third year.
Third year. Okay. So first of all, as I said, there's no discrimination as such, because at the end of the day, everyone will get a same degree, which is the how you call it your which is MD or MS. There you just are called as board certified doctor. Okay. And secondly, discrimination, I really wouldn't call it as a discrimination unless you're working in some different university that you're applying for, maybe for a research position or something like that. Then your CV may matter as to which institution that you've passed out from. But if you want to get into clinicals, then at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. and there's no discrimination as such. Because people who are passed out from Harvard or John Hopkins or Mayo Clinic or NIH, they are not much into hardcore clinicals, and they don't really get that exposure. If you just go to any government hospital in India, you will see there's a lot of workload and pressure. Likewise, you will not find it in, so if you want to get into clinicals, then getting into community hospitals is the best bet for you. But if you want to get into something like a more of a office work or much into research work or a non-clinical work, then these kind of Ivy Leagues and brands would be best for you. So it depends what you're taking and under what circumstances you're taking. I mean, don't expect a yes or a no answer. It is not a very simple question that you've asked. There are 100 scenarios which will come out of it, and it will be completely situational in nature. And I've seen that with a few of the students and their feedback. They literally get bored, sir. I don't have much work here. One of my students is in, Icahn School of Medicine, Mount Sinai. She says, I don't have much work here. There's no load. There's no exposure. I guess I'm at the wrong place. So despite having a brand also, she's not happy. Because she wants to be clinical. She wants to be into clinical. Sitting in AC offices is not going to help a doctor. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a very simple question that you've asked for which I should answer a yes or a no. But there are 100 scenarios. But I guess overall I've been able to tell you what exactly you're expecting out of me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I understand.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Ajit. Sir, is there any universities providing electives without USMLE Step 1 score?
There are very few, but they are going to be exorbitantly high. You end up paying more. But again, if you're still thinking of doing an elective without a Step 1, I would say it is a waste of my 2.5 hours of session if you're still thinking of doing a rotation first and then a USMLE. First do USMLE and then think of a rotation.
Sir, right now I'm in my final year, sir. So only I asked, sir.
Which is fine. Great. You're in final year, great. Finish your final year. Don't touch your USMLEs. In the internship year from day one, start with your USMLE. Take 6 to 9 months, wrap up your USMLE, and then you think about your electives.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Any more questions?
Hello, sir.
Hi.
This is 𝗃𝒔𝒻𝒃. I'm a second year MBBS student. If I start preparing a few months from now for USMLE Step 1, will it be okay if I take the Step 1 exam at the end of third year?
Yes, certainly. Why not? Okay,
sir. Because you said like third year and fourth year are mainly for like research and updating the CV kind of stuff.
Correct. So I would suggest, because you asked end of third year, I said yes. But technically, if you ask me, according to me, in the first half of third year, you should be USMLE ready. Now, whether you want to take it in the first half or second half, that's your choice. But if you ask me, according to you, by when can I be ready for USMLE at the earliest, I would say first quarter or maximum 4 months of third year, you should be exam ready. Because what is USMLE? You are just first year and second year of syllabus that you're studying in right now. You just have to revise that from a USMLE format, take some tests and exams, as in for practice, understand where you stand, and then go and give the exam. So 3 to 4 months are more than sufficient for that. So when is your final exam of second year?
Jan 2022.
Jan 22. So according to the latest May, worst scenario, June of 2022, you will be exam ready. So if you finish it by then, so from June to December of 22, you have 6 months to focus on your research and other CV related things. So that Jan of 23, you will be focusing back on your PSM Ophthalmology ENT, which is your third year syllabus, MBBS.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Tejaswini. Which college, by the way, Tejaswini?
Tago Medical College,
Tago,
Chennai.
Chennai. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. All right.
Hello, sir. Sir, I am Rajesh.
Yes.
Sir, again, the same guy.
Oh, yes, Rajesh.
Sir, I am currently a third year medical student, sir. So, when I started preparing for USMLE, the next news came. So, now I am preparing for next one first. So, I will be starting my preparation only from the start of my internship. So, is it really doable, like doing the internship and USMLE preparation together, because we have a continuous long shift in internship?
See, if you would have asked me a question whether studying for NEET PG and USMLE, would that be doable? My answer would have been slightly different.
No, sir. What I'm asking is it really doable, like doing my internship also, and by the way, studying USMLE also? Is that doable?
That's exactly what I was answering before you stopped me.
Oh, sorry.
My answer, no problem. My answer is, would you have said that, sir, is NEET PG and USMLE doable parallelly? I would have said something different that possibly may not be, because it would have been super tough. But fortunately, if you check the next questions and the USMLE questions, they are in the same pattern, same format, and slowly and steadily, next is trying to follow the USMLE set of questions, which is why it will now, I'm not saying it's a cakewalk. It is certainly going to be exertion for you. It is certainly going to be slightly, more tedious, but it is certainly not like, oh, it is not a doable task. That is certainly not going to be the case. Because your NEET PG pattern was similar to your MBBS pattern, and your next pattern is similar to your USMLE pattern. So, which is why it will go hand in hand and it will help you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, and one more thing, the USMLE cost is expensive. Can we take loans? Is that loan available for this process?
Loan for what? You're not doing a degree. You're taking like a USMLE, it's an entrance exam. For example, let's say next was super expensive. There's no provision for loan in next. Similarly, you're taking an entrance exam. Even if you want to join KAPLAN, it's a coaching. It's not a degree that you're taking. So there's no loans as such, unless you want to take a personal loan or a gold loan or any other loan.
Okay.
No education loan is available for USMLEs. Sorry to say, but let me set your expectations very clearly on day one. I don't want to give you false hopes.
Yeah. I understand, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, then.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, just last couple of questions, because we're already close to 9 o'clock. So let's try and wrap it up.
Sir.
And keep your
My name
questions
is...
short, guys.
Hi, sir.
One second. Keep your questions short, because we're already close to 9 o'clock. If you still have more questions, I have given you my office numbers. Contact my Chennai branch, Bangalore branch, or any other branch if you have more questions. But let's keep our questions short right now. Yes, please. Last 2 questions, and then I guess we should wrap up. Tell me.
Sir, my name is
this is Akshita again. Just called out.
Oh, 3 questions. 3 people are asking at the same time. Akshita, can you just hold? I've answered your question. Let me just give a chance to someone else.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, my name is 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗽. I have a doubt, sir. Like,
yes, 𝗂𝗏𝗃.
How is there a way to both give next and USMLE the same way? Like, is it close enough to be of the same pattern?
𝗂𝗏𝗃,
like
Rajesh just asked the same question. 𝗂𝗏𝗃, Rajesh asked me the same question. He just asked me the same question. But, I just answered.
He told about the internship, sir. But my question is like,
no.
MBBS
Is it
itself,
doable? Is it doable? Was his question. Is it doable? And I said it is parallel because the syllabus is same, the question types are same, and it's going hand in hand, which is why it is doable.
Taking KAPLAN will also help me next also, sir. Like.
Yes, and I can proudly say, if you want, tomorrow maybe I can ask my student to shoot a video and I can send it to you guys, how Kaplan has helped him in his MBBS and his entrance exams. He keeps on telling everyone, take Kaplan, it will help you in your MBBS, and of course it will help to for next also. He keeps on saying that. But so again, to answer your query, yes, it does.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Some other guy had asked question quickly. I guess he's dropped. Akshita, you?
Oh, yes. So you were saying about the Kaplan offer, right? So the UWorld and all that. How do I get that offer? How do I approach to get that offer?
So you're from Coimbatore or Tagore?
No, I'm from Chennai. But my college is in Kanchipuram.
No problem. So tomorrow morning, you just call on the number which I just shared with you, connect with my Chennai office, and just take all the details of how do you avail that offer, and my local office will help you out there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Akshita. All right then, students, I guess we've done enough Q&A, and I really hope the session was informative and I've been able to pour a few drops in the ocean of your information. So if you've liked the session and if you think I've answered all the queries, feel free to contact us in the near future or anytime you need our help, support, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. All right. So on that note, I call it an evening, and I would like to thank all of you for being supportive, being here online till almost about close to 9 o'clock, and hearing me out patiently. Thank you all. Stay safe, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.